Welcome to In Touch, Conversations from the KuschelRaum. That means cuddle space. We are Angeline and Ruben. We are the founders of KuschelRaum. And in this video series, we talk about people, about conscious touch, consent, intimacy, our work. And today we are so happy and completely blissed, grateful. We have the wonderful, amazing Betty Martin with us. She's the creator of the Wheel of Consent, a really groundbreaking framework for exploring intimacy, exploring touch, exploring boundaries, taking responsibility for your connections. And yeah, we are so happy to have you here. And she's also the author of the book, The Art of I say it again. And she's also the author of the wonderful book, The Art of Receiving and Giving, which we highly recommend. And yeah, Betty, hi, I'm so happy
Hi,
you're
thank
here.
you. It's so good to see you again.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we met like a decade ago, and I
I
did the
think so.
workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the workshop like a pro with you, and I can honestly say that nothing has shaped my personal and professional life like this workshop and meeting you, really, honestly. So in a way, you are a co-creator of KuschelRaum. Thank you for that. And yeah, we thought we start just maybe with a really quick, short overview, kind of what is the wheel for people who have never heard about it, but we will link everything, your website, more information also in German so that people can dive in because this is
Great.
not the conversation we will talk
Yeah.
about. We will go
Yeah.
deeper, but maybe, yeah, you could tell us what is a wheel.
Great. Yeah. The wheel of consent is a practice. It's something that you do and you come back to over time again and again. And in particular, it's a practice in taking apart receiving and giving.
Mhm.
Basically, it's a practice of taking turns. So we're taking apart receiving and giving. So when it's my turn to receive, it's all about me. And I respect your boundaries, of course, but it's about what I want. And when it's my turn to give, it's all about you. And again, I'm respecting my own boundaries and limits, but it's about what you want. And so by taking turns, something kind of amazing happens, and that is that you find out what receiving actually is. And it breaks your heart open and it nourishes you, and it's quite wonderful. And in particular, the kind of the wheel of consent is basically a practice of touch for two people. You can do it without touch, but it's based on exchanges of touch. And it's basically when you take turns in this particular way, you end up with four different experiences. In one, I'm doing to you what you want. Maybe you want a back scratch or something. I'm doing to you what you want. In another one, I'm doing to you, but it's what I want. Oh, how's that work? And so I maybe playing with your hair or feeling your arm or something. So, but it's for what I want. And in another one of those four, you are doing to me what I want. And another one, you are doing to me what you want. So it shows you that, or what you notice is that it may be that there's two of them. Well, let me start that over. So what you end up with is two of those turns I'm doing, and two of those turns you're doing. And two of those turns it's what you want, and in two of those turns it's what I want. And they overlap so that yeah, I do what you want, I do what I want, you do what you want, you do what I want. And you find out that each of those four is fun. And also, each of those four teaches you something different about yourself, to get you new skills. You develop new skills of asking for what you want and saying yes and no, and and each of them opens up kind of a whole different world to play in. Yeah, and it's best learned even if you are sexual partners. It's best learned without sex. You can come back and add sex later if you want to, but it's best learned uh, in a situation that's not very sexy. Yeah, you'll have more fun and learn more that way.
And why is that? I would be very curious to hear from you.
Yeah,
Is there any inherent benefits from practicing it without sexuality?
yes, definitely. Because once you bring sexual arousal or sexual touch into the dynamic, everything you learned goes out the window and you get right back on your pattern. Oh, this is the thing that works to do the thing. And so you kind of it's really hard to learn anything that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's harder to express boundaries when your partner is completely aroused and you
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
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 kind of
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. And I think one of the things I learned this from years of cuddle party, the importance of the difference between touch and sex. And it really shows up in the wheel of consent also because if you for most people, touch and sex are kind of welded together, and they think, if touch is happening, then oh, sex must be around here somewhere,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and when you can separate the two, you find out, well, first of all, they can be separated, and they are very different things. And your touch repertoire can get much bigger and more fun and more fluid and more open, so that you can play with touch in lots of ways that are not about sex. And then just, again, a whole world opens. Um, so yeah, it's really important to be able to take those two apart. Yeah. Your touch life becomes much better, and your sex life was also likely to be much better. Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I started with tantric workshops, and yeah, and for me it was really important, kind of, to get better in sexuality, and I don't
Hmm.
want to experience all those different
Yeah. Yeah.
orgasms, and then there is this comparison with other shaktis in the room, and
Oh,
it's so
yeah.
stressful, and it's so hard, and you just are tensed, and it's
Yeah.
completely. And so much happened just from itself by being over and over again in non-sexual spaces because you have time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as I
Yeah.
always say, I've never seen somebody pulling in their belly in a cuddle party. You know,
Yeah.
they don't try, they don't try to look beautiful or whatever. They just are, and that is so relaxing. And yeah,
Great expression. Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
And not to forget that it's also very important to have that other kind of touch for having the feeling of
Hmm.
sense or
Hmm.
being, connected to other people.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
gives you something, nourishes you something
Yeah.
that sex can't.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do you think it's possible to mix them together, like this slowing down of cuddling spaces or non-sexual touch, and mix it up with sexuality, like in practices like slow sex, for example? Or do you think,
Oh, yeah, sure. We mix it because usually when we have sex, there's touch involved. So, yeah. I'm not sure what you mean. Is that what you mean? I mean, what do
usually,
you mean?
yeah, usually when you bring in sexual touch, be it a sexual positive space for groups or
Mm-hmm.
within partnership or any
Mm-hmm.
kind of one-on-one situation,
Mm-hmm.
then you have uh, a different kind of chemistry. You have arousal, and as
Mm-hmm.
you said, you bring in your set like programs, your patterns, and things
Right.
you learned, and at the same time, you have a different space of experiences, which is with non-sexual touch, what we call
Mm-hmm.
cuddling, and
Mm-hmm.
then you just yeah, you feel more free to follow to find out what you really want.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's slower because you don't have
Mm-hmm.
like this drive of the
Mm-hmm.
arousal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's a slow and more conscious space, or it is easier to be slower and more conscious. Do you think it's possible to combine them in yeah, some kind of space where you make experiences, or
Oh, yeah.
they tend to switch over and then you either in
Yeah.
one or the other?
That's a great question. Yes, you can combine them. I think one problem with sex and sexuality is that people tend to, I worked as a sex coach and sacred intimate for many years, so um, many people tend to think that there's only one kind of sex and it goes like this, and you go from here to here to here, and there you go, you know, like it's one way. And what many people don't realize, sadly, is that there's many different kinds of arousal. There's different pace. There's different feeling that you can be playful, you can be silly, you can be raucous, you can be passionate, you can be rough, you can be gentle, you can be um, cozy. You know, there's many different kinds of arousal and ways to be. So, yeah, you might start out being very slow and gentle, and you might be slow and gentle for the whole thing. Or you might find that you start out slow and gentle and cozy, and it gradually heats up, and then it gets hotter and hotter, maybe suddenly it gets silly, and you're both laughing. You know, lots of different ways to be sexual. I think what you're asking about is in a group setting, and the it's possible, yes, and it's I have not seen it be very successful, except with people who have a very strong skill level and background in being able to slow down and be attentive and, um, uh, whether it's with a 3-minute game or with it's a cuddle something, because most people, when they get turned on, are going to want to go,
Yep.
and then you kind of lost it. Um, So just taking a group of people off the street and expecting that to work, probably not, because their ideas of what is possible with sex are going to be so narrow. Maybe that's the thing that you're trying to expand, is people's idea of what is even possible in sexual activity. And my experience working with hundreds of people on that is that for some people, it's very difficult to change gears, and it's very difficult to learn something new, and takes a long time, and there's a lot of ahas, and it can be challenging. And um, yeah, so that would be my only concern with trying to have an event like that, is that a lot of people just aren't going to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't be sure that there are not some of them have the hidden agenda. I don't want to learn anything. I just want to go
Oh,
home
yeah,
to my wine cup.
just want to get some sex.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Skip
let
the
me at it.
exercises. I like that one.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it is really helpful to have spaces like you're doing, like cuddle space, where there is sex is just not in the room, or it's just not, people obviously get turned on occasionally, but you're not going to follow it.
Mhm.
And so people people already know how to combine touch and sex, because that's all they do. Taking them apart, that's the thing that has to be learned. And it's so great when you learn it. It's just so good. Yeah.
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 Um, have you some encouraging words or some, I don't know, tricks is the wrong word, but of course we find when we work with people in our workshops, especially, that they come back after day one, or they come to the second workshop and they're kind of, oh, it's so hard now. Now I'm aware of everything and I'm so angry and I can't do that anymore and I'm so angry with my partner. And it's really gotten so heavy. I mean,
Oh,
there's the
yeah.
muddy middle, and and it's kind of sometimes a very long way until you really get the benefits. So I don't know what do you do when people, I mean, that
Oh,
must
yeah.
something you know as well. So
That's very true. I mean, once you learn how to cuddle and it's not about sex, then where are you going to find that?
yeah.
That's a problem. Because if your partner is all about the sex, then every time you want to cuddle them, then sex is going to happen, or and then in Wheel of Consent workshops, what often happens is people learn a lot of skills about noticing what they want, asking for what they want, getting clear, distinguishing between the different kinds of touch. And they'll very often say, now where can I find someone to do this with? And it's actually it is kind of a problem. But what I'll often say is that you already have the skill now
Mm.
to ask for what you want. So the other person the other person doesn't necessarily need the skills if you have the skills, because you can ask for what you want and you can ask them what they want. And, you know, that's kind of theoretical, but um, it is true that you take the skills into your life. You take the skills from the Wheel of Consent, you take the skills of noticing what you want, asking for what you want, being clear about that, finding out what the other person is okay with and what they're not. And you do take that into your life and it changes your relationships. And is it more fun if the other person can also play with that? Sure, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What comes now is a trust issue, no? That when I'm not really sure, I ask you what you want and you say it, but I might see in your eyes
Hmm.
what I learned in the
Hmm.
workshop that it's not a full yes. So do I start now
Hmm.
a big conversation and explain the we are
Yeah,
not?
yeah,
And this is
yeah.
also,
I don't recommend trying to explain it all.
yeah, okay.
Um, but you might say, wow, I see you saying yes, but you don't look like it. Are you sure? You know,
Mhm.
how's that really feeling to you? Or you might decide it's not worth it. I'm not going to do the thing that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Um, and that could cause some hurt feelings of some kind. That's true. You could
Yeah,
say, well, I thought I wanted to do that. I thought I wanted to feel your back, but I actually don't. I'm not going to do that.
yeah,
Let's find something else. Because you can still be responsible for your half of the arrangement.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what would you recommend to therapists? Because we as cuddle therapists, we have that same issue and we cannot explain the whole wheel. They are not here to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
educated. They are here to kind of
Right.
relax. But and
Right.
I
Right.
cannot say, no, I don't want to anymore.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
You can't
in
do
the
it.
in the uh, in the in the professional situation, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Because what I often say to professionals is never ask permission. If you and you might think, well, I'm teaching my client to say yes and no, but if they are saying yes and no, who has asked the question? You have. So never ask them permission. Instead, teach them how to ask for what they want. So it's never, may I hold you like this? It's, would you like to be held and how? Show me where you want my arm. Show
Yeah.
me where you want my head. So that they are leading, they're guiding where things are going and how they're being held. Um, and that's a life-changing experience right there, to be touched exactly the way you want. Oh my gosh, most people have never had that. Most people have never had exactly what they want in this context. And many people don't know what to do with it. It's intimidating. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. I don't
Hmm.
know, or do what you can
Yeah,
do best or something,
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever you like.
Yes, whatever you like. You know what's best. Well, yeah,
I
I do
pay
know
you,
what's
but you
best.
can do whatever you
Yeah, yeah,
like.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes clients, it's really hard, and then
Yeah.
I'll give them a little um a multiple choice and say, well, here's three options. Which sounds best to you?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And then where would you like this arm? Wherever you want. Nope. Where do you want it?
Hmm.
No. It sometimes just depending on what they're there for and what their current skill levels are. Sometimes it's really a lot of learning and it's a huge aha for people. They're just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Yeah.
So this practice of the wheel of learning about what you want is very self-empowering. It
Yeah,
you gain
absolutely.
agency about your
Yes.
choices or what you want to experience. Uh, but in some cases in life in general or in one-on-one sessions, there's a bit more difficulty uh,
Sure.
for people having their agency, taking
Yes.
responsibility for their experiences,
Yes.
being
Yes.
it because of they have some trauma background
Yeah. Yeah.
or somehow power dynamics are
Hmm.
impeding that people really say what they really want. They
Yeah. Yeah.
might be afraid of some consequences, or
Yeah.
maybe it's an intimate relationship with so
Hmm.
many intertwining layers that,
Hmm.
yeah, so agency becomes sort of compromised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have any advice on like
Yeah.
getting things
Yeah.
apart and
Yeah. Yeah.
bringing in clarity?
Well, if you have a partner that you're engaging with, if you play the 3-minute game, which is what the Wheel of Consent is, and you can link to that, then you will start to experiment with, well, I want this, do you want that? And that happens naturally. And the 3-minute game is two people taking turns asking each other two questions and then do what you agree to. And the two questions are, how do you want me to touch you for 3 minutes? That's why it's called the 3-minute game. And the other question is, how do you want to touch me for 3 minutes? And if you take them very literally and negotiate and then set the timer for 3 minutes, you start to find out, oh, oh, it is my turn to choose. Oh, what do I want? Oh gosh, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. Well, if you just wait a little while, you'll know what you want. It'll come. Um, and so you develop those skills naturally over time as you come back and play the game. Um, with the client, it's a little different. That takes a whole other skill set, and that's what we teach a 5-day course in how to use the wheel of consent with professionals, and you can link to that too. Yeah.
One thing that
Yeah.
I see when we play the 3-minute game with clients or we have a group setting when people are playing with that,
Hmm.
uh, it every now and then someone wants to be somehow in control of the situation. They want to say
Hmm.
what they want, touch me here and there, but I want to be in the taken quadrant, and I want to allow. I want
Hmm.
I want you to really want that and do it. I give you some freedom for your
Hmm.
explorations, but at the same time, I put myself in the allowing quadrant, and I want to give specific like coordinates for your experience. So it's
Well,
something.
that's a different quadrant.
So you're mixing, accepting, and
Yeah.
allowing.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
be touched, but I don't really. I want you to want it, and I want to
Yeah.
say where and how you touch me.
Yeah. Yeah. Just decide which one you're going to do.
Yeah. So you have to take them apart.
Mostly,
Yeah.
yeah, mostly people need the accepting quadrant. they need to be in charge of how they're touched, and they need an experience in which they're touched exactly the way they want and exactly the way they say. Um, and uh, yeah, when you get enough of that, then you sort of trust it and believe it. But yes, people will try to combine them, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're just two different things, very different things. What you can do when you're allowing, sometimes, so for listeners, the allowing quadrant is where you're doing to me what you want, and I'm giving you the gift of access to me. So I'm not telling you what to do. That can be very scary
Mm-hmm.
because we've all been touched in ways that we didn't want. So, that can be very scary. It can be also be very fun and easy. It just depends. But if it's scary, it's totally fine and a good idea for me to set some limits. Say, okay, you can touch me any way you want below my knees, or you can touch my arms any way you want, but only my arms. Or, so it's possible and a good idea to set some limits on what you're comfortable with. Because if I'm worried about you're going to touch something, then I'm going to be tense and worried and but if I say, okay, you can do whatever you want with my arm, okay, that's fine. I'm not worried about my arm. You go help, go ahead. Then I can relax, and it's the relaxing that is the sign to me that I have set my limit in a way that works for me. Yeah, because yeah, the arm, yeah, sure, you can have my arm. Yeah, yeah. But people often, when they're first starting to play, they'll confuse some of the two quadrants, and that just it it that's why it's often helpful to have somebody play it with you who knows,
Mhm.
or like you with a cuddle coach or cuddle therapist that knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in a workshop, people sometimes get angry when they should try taking.
Mm-hmm.
Really kind
Sure.
of, they're really kind
Yeah.
of, no,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah.
wrong. Don't.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Really? No.
No. Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that.
It's not
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why in our facilitator training, we teach people how to teach it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is going step by step
Mhm.
with waking up the hands and do with the hands and legs um, so that you can get it step by step. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really important to bridge this gap of having an intellectual understanding of what they're
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to mean and really feeling it. Like you said,
Yes.
it clicks in the body.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure it's for most people, the intellectual click doesn't happen until it happens in the body. It's really kind of interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We are also one of our missions that we see with our work is bringing consciousness to people's touch lives and to society in general. So
Mm-hmm.
we work heavily in the sense that it's one of priority of ours to work with consent to disseminate
Mm-hmm.
in the society as a whole. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
how do you see this transfer of you have special spaces where you can practice using, for
Mm-hmm.
example, the 3-minute game, and then you make new experiences. You learn about yourself, about agency, self-empowerment, and I entitled to having my own turn, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm entitled to my nose.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we hear from people that it was wonderful. It was really it opened my eyes, and then I go outside
Mm-hmm.
and have society as in general and meet resistance everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
it feels difficult to transfer this knowledge, and
Mm-hmm.
this motivation to, yeah, I want to have a better life, both concerning my relationships, but I want to like, it should be in everyone's life and everyday's
Mm-hmm.
life, also for children, for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
They should
Mm-hmm.
like own their body and set their
Hmm.
limits and be able to clearly communicate what they want, what they
Yeah.
don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to see this transfer and how do we change society with this kind of practice?
Hmm. Oh, that's a really good question. Um, I think a lot of it is when you become aware of it, you become aware of, oh, what am I doing that affects people that I didn't ask them if it was okay with them? I'm doing something to you that you didn't say yes to. Yikes, I didn't realize I was doing that. So one thing that happens, well, let me back up. You might be you might be afraid that if you get good at this, you'll start just touching everything and doing everything to everybody. And what actually happens is that you get very good at respecting other people's limits. You get good at finding out what their limits are and respecting them. And yeah, you might think it'd be the other way around, but that's the way it is. You get very good at respecting people's limits, and that's going to improve your life. Um, you may wish that other people would get better at asking for what they want, and they might or might not, because that is a long, lifelong journey of learning to ask for what we want, because almost all of us have been not rewarded well for asking for what we want as children. Um, and for some people, it's really, really difficult. So that's a lifelong journey. And you might wish that other people would get better at it so you could just keep saying, well, what do you want? Well, what do you want? Just tell me, what do you want? Come on, what do you want? Like, that's not going to be very helpful.
Oh,
Um, like, and so sometimes when people say, yeah, I went out in the world and I tried it and it didn't work, that's could be part of what's happening. Like if you suddenly expect everyone to have these same skills of asking for what you want and saying yes and no and all that, it's not going to work very well. You'll have to develop some grace and some skill in guiding the conversation to help people find out what they want. You can't, um, yeah, you can't just demand that everybody suddenly knows what they want and speaks it. That's not likely to happen. Yeah,
And
yeah.
do you have any idea how we could um, like speed up this process of changing culture towards more consent culture or to achieve a kind of critical mass? Um, do you have any like revolutionary ideas concerning how to change the world?
Play the 3 minute game.
beside the
Yes,
whole wheel.
yes, yes.
You did your
Play,
job,
play
Betty.
the
You
three
did it.
minute game. Yeah, I gave you that. Um, I think taking more and more responsibility for your own experience is really the key. Um, I can be responsible for being disappointed at, you didn't ask for what you want, and so I got confused. Take responsibility for that. And I can learn how to be more gentle and respectful in finding out what you want. Um, and and I can be more clear about what I want without being demanding and being still gentle and respectful of your limits. Um, yeah, I think that's it, being more and more responsible for my own experience.
Like I take care
And
of,
that's hard.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it takes responsibility for my own experiences and
Hmm.
live as an example for others. And people
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
touch in different ways in
Hmm.
my life will
Yeah,
maybe change, maybe not, but some of
yeah,
them will
yeah,
slowly change.
yeah, yeah. And some of them will go, wow, you've changed recently. What's going on?
Mm.
You know? And offering your workshops like you're doing. I think that's a really great way to offer those skills. Because some people will come in and have a taste and that's enough. And some people will come in and have a taste and they'll change their life, like you did.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people will come in and like, oh, I want more of this. I'm going to come back and learn more. I'm going to come back and learn more. So it's going to vary. And you can't, if you think your job is to change the world, good luck with that. And at the same time, I believe we all have a responsibility to make a positive contribution in some way to our neighbors, to our society, to our community. So I do believe that we have a responsibility to contribute something to our community. And it's not our job to save the world and change the world and fix everybody. That's I've not had good luck with that.
So
Yeah.
you've been yourself, you've been working with consent, embodied consent for many years,
hmm
and what do you see as your like life mission in this sense, or and what has changed in your understanding from the beginnings until today? One thing I remember from your book, you said consent is agreement is actually a better word, but I can change the name now, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
widespread. So
Yeah.
what has
Yeah.
changed, and yeah, how do you see your life's
Mm.
mission or a vision for the wheel and your legacy in general?
Mm. Well, I feel like I stumbled upon the wheel, or it sort of dropped in my lap, and I gave it to the world, and that's what I was supposed to do with it. Um, to develop it and keep it as um, clear as I could, and give it to the world. And I feel like I've done that. So I can retire.
I'm so grateful that you don't fully retire, that you make time for conversations like that.
Yeah, these kind of conversations are fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm also handing it over to other people to teach it. I think that's actually an important part of because they watch the videos and they think they get it and then they try to start teaching it. And it doesn't always work very well, doesn't usually work very well. And so by training people in how to teach it, and we've created a home for the Wheel of Consent. It's called the School of Consent, and you can link to that. Uh, we've created a home for the wheel so that it can be taught and developed in a way that's clear and doesn't mix it up with other stuff. Um, that's actually been an important part of handing it over. Yeah, yeah. School of Consent is where that's happening. And we offer workshops around the world of 2 or 3 days for uh, regular people and a 5-day training for practitioners. Yeah.
Right. I just remembered something you said in the workshop actually, because the work is also not to force it on anybody, to be,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of this common sense. And I remember that someone in our workshop asked, when they're in India and they're vegan and they get from a poor family this kind of chai, there is milk inside of it. And he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to get you that you say you stick to your boundaries and you
Oh,
no, you drink it. To be, too grateful to accept
yeah.
the gift and that's completely of crossing of my boundary, but it's completely common sense. And I loved it so much that
Yeah.
it's not a rigid system, you
Yes.
also have
Yes.
to see who is in front of me and am I hurting
Mm-hmm.
them or not with my knowledge.
Yeah,
And
that's
this is
right.
it's
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah. 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 And which is more important to you,
Yeah.
your uh, relationship to dairy or your relationship to this person.
Yeah.
And it might be one, it might be the other, but you have to decide that, which is this person right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found myself in this situation that in a group situation, somebody was crying. And normally I would kind of hug them or whatever, touch their hand. And I couldn't because I was so, but I have to ask first. And that's strange here. And then I didn't do it and somebody else did it. And then I felt completely guilty that I wasn't there for that person.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
also part of the
Yeah.
muddy middle that you kind
Yeah.
of overdo it or kind
Yeah.
of, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, it's
Yeah.
not easy to,
And we don't always know. I
yeah.
mean, yeah. Yeah. We're going to guess wrong sometimes.
And it's okay.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you're learning something new like this. You've come to this workshop and you've learned, oh my gosh, I can ask before I touch someone. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Or, oh, I could be held in this way. Or it's all new. And then you go out into the world and how do I apply this? I don't know. So you just experiment and you make some mistakes and you embarrass yourself and then you keep going. Come back for another workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we think it's very important for people to have a space where they have their turns, or
Mm-hmm.
in like
Mm-hmm.
cuddle spaces, people are doing
Yeah,
that simultaneously,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but they don't have to compromise, so they
yeah.
do
Right.
what they want.
Yeah,
And of
yeah.
course, there's limitations when transferring that to the
Sure.
real
Yeah,
life, but
yeah,
you
yeah,
do have to compromise sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, here's one thing that I've noticed. There are workshops that teach a specific skill, like this is how you say the thing and this is how you do the thing. And in relationships, for example, there's a specific skill of discussing hard things or whatever it is. That's great. That is not this workshop.
Mm.
This workshop is about having a somatic experience of each of the four quadrants so that you know what they feel like. And then you can take that into your life however you wish. But the the workshop itself doesn't teach you specific things to say in every situation. That's not what we do. We're trying to give you a somatic experience of each of the four quadrants and to recognize them in yourself. And then you go, oh, that's what that is. Oh, now I understand. And then you can take that into your life. Yeah.
Yeah, and in a way you can't go back. I mean, for
No.
me, at
No.
least I don't know if you have ever met somebody
Yeah.
who went back, but it's kind
No.
of so life-changing.
Yeah.
Who wants a life without the wheel when you know the wheel?
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Exactly. Really?
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's true.
And we've touched this topic already, but since we just mentioned again the somatic experiencing of whatever it is, in
Hmm.
this case, what I want or what don't want, and etc. Um, why do you think we have our own ideas, but I'd like to hear from you? So important to feel it in the body,
Mm,
somatic experience.
I don't know why, but I know that when you feel it in your body, it changes you. Suddenly things make sense that didn't make sense before. And really, everything that we experience in our body in some way. Um, so, because you're always in your body, where else are you going to be? That's all there is. And so, I realize that when people say in the body, they mean what they mean is being attentive to the body and what's happening and being aware of what they feel and how they're moving. But you're always in your body. Um, anyway, that's a different topic.
But you
Let's
could
get back to
differentiate
it. Yeah.
uh, because the consent debate in general, sometimes it gets quite academic, theoretical.
Hmm.
You're
Sure.
with ideas, but you're not experiencing it in the
Hmm.
body. We're not being
Yeah.
touched. We're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
feeling anything.
Yeah. 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 That's
And
true.
your
That's
work has
true.
a different approach. So
Yes.
it is all about feeling and
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
making this experience in
Yeah.
the body.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
very different somehow to just
Yeah.
talking about
I
consent.
think so. I think so. I think it, even when, so you have this somatic experience, okay, this is what it feels like to be in this quadrant, or this is what it feels like to say no. Ah, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like. It lands in a different way in your psyche and in your ideas. Like you just know it. And yeah, I'm not sure why that, I can't answer neurologically why that is, but I do know that it's true. That when you know it in your body, then you know it in a different way. Yeah. And it's more useful and usable also. Yeah. And it changes your feeling. I think part of it is it changes your feeling state. Um, you have an emotional response and an emotional change to it also. Yeah. I don't know the neurology, but I do know that that happens. Yeah.
So, and one thing that is connected to that is that many people nowadays don't feel themselves in general.
Hmm.
They're like anesthetized. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it could be a way to teach them to start paying attention to
Yes.
what's going on in their bodies. And
Yes, that often happens. Yeah. Yeah.
so you have also practices that are somehow enriching or complementing the wheel, like
Hmm.
touching an
Hmm.
object, for example,
Hmm.
waking up the hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that it would be like a step before.
Hmm.
Yeah, would you
Yeah.
say a little bit about it?
Yes. The waking up the hands, which you can also link to, I stumbled upon by accident. I had a guy, so I'm coaching people how to learn to touch someone for their own enjoyment, not for the person's enjoyment, for their own enjoyment. That's hard for many people, hard for most people. And so this one person he was feeling my arm and I was trying to coach him into, okay, feel for the texture, feel for the shape. He just couldn't get it. He was trying to produce a feeling in me instead of feeling for his own. He just couldn't get it. And so I reached over on the shelf and picked up a stone, a river rock, was had some texture in it. And I thought to myself, aha, let's see if you can feel this let's see what you do when there's no one to give to. And I put it in his hand and said, here, feel this. And he could tell it was a rock, but he couldn't really tell anything about it. It wasn't landing anywhere. And I realized, oh, the problem is not that he can't feel an arm. The problem is that he can't feel anything. His hands are just like they're not connected. That he can't feel anything with his hands. And that was a big aha for me. And so I worked with him for a while on using his hands to feel. And then I realized, oh, applies to everybody. And now I start everybody with it. And we start the workshops with it because you it's dealing with the nerve endings in your hands that talk to your brain. And if those are all rested shut, you're not going to feel anything with your hands. So you're not going to feel a person because you can't feel anything. So that's why I call it waking up the hands. And very often there's an emotional, as that clicks, there's an emotional response. People will very often feel sad or surprised or silly or very tender-hearted, or they'll get very quiet as those brain cells are starting to talk to each other. It's very often an emotional response of some kind. And that emotional response is what told me that we're onto something here. Something's going on here that's more than just the nerves in your hand. Something's going on. And that, for many people, has turned out to be a profound experience. Um, and for many people, it's extremely difficult. For most people, it's somewhere in between that usually just kind of takes some playing around with it till it clicks. But it's a prerequisite to the taking quadrant in the wheel of consent, the one where you're touching for your own pleasure. And if your hands can't feel an object for their own pleasure, they're not going to be able to feel a person for their own pleasure. It just can't be done because the nerves, the pathways aren't there. So that has turned out to be a profound experience for many people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about the taken quadrant, we see people that sometimes have some resistance saying, but yeah, with an object is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but if I'm touching a person, I cannot like
Yeah.
become an object.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to connect with you, look at in your eyes and sense what you're feeling, if you're enjoying it or
Yeah.
not. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
using you, and
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I suggest to people, pretend that you are an aspiring hand surgeon. You're going to be a hand surgeon. And you need to use someone's hand to feel what a hand feels like. And so, may I use your hand to explore and see what a hand feels like? And you say, yes, now I'm using your hand. Well, I am using you. Of course I am, because you said I could. And I'm exploring, what are these joints? How do they work? So, in that sense of the word, yes, I am using you. And you have given me this gift of access to you. And it is a gift, and it's a very significant gift. And I'm using your hand to explore what a hand feels like. That can be it's often a step that people can take to understand that, oh, it's okay to feel someone. And usually it just takes a little, it just takes some playing around with it before it starts to click. Because yes, most people, as soon as they're touching someone, they're thinking automatically, oh, it's for them. I have to do what pleases them. And that's often true, but it's not always true. And if I have asked permission to explore your hand, then yes, it's for me. Yeah. It's hard for most people. Yeah.
I have one last question.
Mhm.
Why it's so important to start with the receiving end?
Mm. Well, you're going to be taking turns, so you will start with receiving and giving both. What do you mean?
No, but because your book, it's called The Art of
Oh,
Receiving
receiving,
and
give.
Giving,
Okay.
and
Oh,
you
yes.
always say you have
Sure.
to learn take before
That's a
you
great.
can
That's a
serve.
great. Yes,
And
that's a great example. Um, the reason I say it like that in the title of the book is because if you say giving and receiving, most people automatically go to doing and being done to. And that's not what we're talking about. Because giving and receiving for most people mean doing and being done to. So when I say give and receive, most people are going to have an idea of what that means, and it's very incomplete and not accurate. So that's why I say receiving and give, because it lands a little different in your head.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, maybe some closing words, because I think time is slowly up. But I mean, we talked about then there are feelings and it's hard and nobody else will understand you anymore. And, you know, so maybe.
It sounds very fun, doesn't it?
Maybe it sounds completely fun and worth it, and all my money to spend and the time I invest. And so maybe, yeah, some words kind of also from your observations, why it is so important to do that work. What is the gift at the end of the tunnel? So
that's a good question. Yeah, we have made it sound kind of awful.
Yes.
Well, two things. One is it's fun. It's really fun. And the other thing is you'll have experiences that are possible no other way. So when I ask you to, scratch my back or rub my feet or, whatever, and you say yes and you do that, that's an experience in which I am not worried about you. I am not giving back to you. I am not performing. I'm just experiencing how great it is to have my back scratched. That's an experience that is not going to happen if I'm trying to please you or trying to blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. And the same thing with, if I'm have asked to, say, play with your hair or feel your legs or explore your arms or something, and I'm not trying to please you, and I'm not worried, I care about you, of course, but I'm not trying to please you. That is an experience that won't come any other way. To really let myself sink into, oh, this is what that arm feels like. Wow, it feels amazing. That's an experience that's going to happen no other way. And so when you take apart the receiving and giving in those ways, yeah, there's just nothing like it. Because most of our lives, we don't go around taking them apart. Thank goodness. So in this practice, you do take them apart, and it creates a unique opportunity. Yeah. I hope that sounds a little more fun then.
It sounds fun.
How challenging it's going to be.
Thank you so much.
Right, you're so welcome. All right.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
You
You're
bet,
lovely
you
being.
bet.
And
You're so welcome.
yeah, stay
Have a lovely
healthy.
day.
Have a lovely
You too.
day. And
Bye-bye.